What's up, everyone? NanMan here with some more modern action. This time around, we've got Izzet Twin versus Domain Zoo. Now, I was looking through it. I know we just had some MTGO Twin-related action as a Crashing Footfalls Twin-esque list. You know, I hope you guys enjoyed the MTGO gameplay. Again, we do those the first first Monday, but first Saturday of every month. And then we've got, of course, our additional gameplay stuff. A lot of people were enjoying the standard gameplay we had of Simic Ouroboros versus Dimir Midrange, which was paper gameplay at the end of the month. We've got a legacy gameplay coming up at the end of March for you all to be able to enjoy. But this one, Domain Zoo versus Izzet Twin. I was looking at the channel, and the last time we had Domain Zoo on was September. And that was an Esper Blink versus a Domain Zoo match, which was a grind fest, a very cool one to be able to watch. This time around, we're going to be seeing Izzet Twin versus Domain Zoo, and we've seen Twin recently, like December, so a little bit more recently, but I love the deck. It's one of my favorites to be able to play. This was from a little while ago. I'm actually working on a Domain list right now. The Domain Reanimator list came across my feed couple weeks ago with a 5-0 on the MTGO leagues, and I was like, I have a bunch of the pieces. I don't like Zoo as a deck. Like the Domain Zoo, it's just like, it feels too just, I don't know. There's something about it that just gives me the just like ick or something. It's just like I have an aversion to it. But this, I like Reanimator strategy, so I was like, oh, what if we do this, right? Let's jam this in here and see what we can make happen with this. So that we are still working on building the deck. The list is pretty much together. We're still working on the sideboard and stuff. I had my buddy Rob test it out for us at the LGS recently. Wasn't on camera yet, but we are going to be featuring the deck soon. So you keep an eye out for those matches soon. We actually have our, what is it, legacy? I want to say, no, my brain went to legacy mode. Well, we have elves coming up soon, so keep an eye on that. But let's get focused on this match in particular, because I'm spending all this time talking, keeping you guys at least engaged in what's coming up. But hey, there's a deceiver. Our Domain player got a little bit of unlucky with missing a land drop there. So what is Domain Zoo and how does it work? So let's break it down for you real quick. Domain Zoo's whole idea is that domain mechanic, right? In the sense that you are utilizing as many different basic land types as possible and then kind of taking advantage of it with your creatures. Kavus are one that, of course, power increases from that. You've got your Scion of Dracos here that are able to basically be cast for less mana based off of the number of basic land types. So normally it's a 12 cost artifact, which then can get reduced all the way down to 2 mana. But speaking of our little powerhouses here, here's the Kavu, which is immediately met with a counter spell. But yeah, so that is at least delays tactics. We already see a deceiver out there. So the idea is you have, with the domain, still focusing on that for a second, you've got your ley lines out, so you're able to make your creatures all the basic land, or basically all your lands tap are all basic land types. If I don't stumble over my words here, all basic land types, and your creatures are going to be all the colors essentially off of the Scion of Draco, and you just kind of like, you can't interact with my board, and I'm just going to like swing in and turn creature sideways and have a really quick clock coming at you. Other side of things, Twin, this is a hybrid Blue Moon Izzet Wizard with a Twin package built into it. So, speaking of Blue Moon, here we go, Harbinger of the Seas, which will get the immediate scoop up for the domain player, especially when you're running a 5-color good stuff deck, essentially, where you're like, I got like 1-2 basics in it.
Gameplay to let you know about our new affiliate with NerdGear. nerdgear.gg/nanman will take you directly to the website, and as you can see, they've got a bunch of awesome gaming accessories, from playmats, life counters with the life tracks, playmat holders, and more. So make sure you do some browsing on the site, find some goodies, and then use the code NGNanman for 5% off your entire order. But let's get back to our gameplay.
Yeah, one thing to note right now is there is a bit of a sale going on over at Nerd Gear. So again, head over nerdgear.gg/nanman, and there is the St. Patrick's Day sale that's going on. Ends March 19th though, so you have a little bit of time. But there are some deals going on where you can be able to buy 3 of the Rock Guard sleeves, get one for the price of for free. I had a big fan of the lilac ones. And the ice petal blue, I enjoyed those. Been testing those out with certain ones. Ooh, Leyline Guild Pack hitting here. So this is what we were talking about. We're trying to break it down, right? Lands are every basic land type. Each non-land permanent you control is every color. So does matter a little bit there. Also, with Nerd Gear, you can do custom playmats. That is a thing that they've got. They've got their own playmats that exist and some really cool designs, but they do have custom playmats. Some cool, new ones in the shop. Dice. There's some Commander Essential bundles. There's a special St. Patrick's Day bundle. That's like a green bundle. You get like dice and sleeves and Commander stuff. So Life Tracks counter to help you keep track of it. So a lot of goodies over there. So check it out, or at least just use our code. All right, get 5% off your order there. But let's get into this game number 2 here. So 17 all Kavu going to be coming out here, and we're going to be seeing the Powerhouse because again it is a 5/5 with the ley lined out. No little bit of counterspell to stop, and when we see a blue-red like this, that also lets us know, okay, there is no counterspell. You need double blue. You don't have it. Sweet. All right, you see this sort of shuffle up, going through the lines. Okay, we can set ourselves up this way, do it that way, and here's 5. Attack trigger. We'll discard this land, draw a card. That's also why we're doing the reanimate strategy. Of course, we've got access to the territorial Kavu. We can discard our cards. We have access to Psychic Frog in our list. This list is not doing the reanimation package. It's just doing we're going to play Domain Zoo. I'm going to be able to have, we see, of course, the Eldrazi in here. There's also running the Doorkeeper Thrall to, shut down our effects that would have us, I'm going to evoke this out or whatever and be able to, sacrifice. Nope, you don't have to sacrifice it, right? Consigns, main board. Lots of ways to be able to do that. Flage is in here, too, but big beats coming across here, and you see this sort of, go ahead. I'm not going to play. I'm not going to waste and drop down the Scion of Draco because this gives me a bunch of interaction to whatever you're doing. I've got Lightning Bolt, Sign Lightning Bolt too, which is cool. And then you see Leyline Bindings in hand being shuffled around there. So a lot of options, basically just trying to kind of cinch up this game here. And sort of the pass turn after that is always a good sign if you're the domain player, but now this kind of, we'll see, attempting to move to combat. The flash, let's see. In response, get the cool island to match the cool mountain. Tapping down, Deceiver is going to get flashed in, tapping the Kavu here. At least buy a turn. And he is tapped. Main phase 2, switching in, dropping down our, that's the other thing too is Triomes don't really see much play in Modern, but they fit very nicely in the domain list like this. And there's the Scion of Draco there, and the Leyline Binding, making sure there's not a surprise, untapped, drop a land, twin win here. So, yeah, he says land, Cryptic Command, or you lose. Not running Cryptic Command anymore, but I love Cryptic Command. For those that have never cast it maybe some people have casted it in Cube at this point in time. I know I have it in one of my cubes, which I hope you guys have been enjoying our Cube videos that we've been doing. We've been doing basically Cube packs on our other social media stuff, Instagram and the Tiki-Takis over there, where we're doing these pack one, pick ones. Oh, crack open a pack. What are you going to grab from it? Because we have 2 cubes that we've been doing that with. Our Powered Cube as well as our Conspiracy Multiplayer Cube. So if you want to check out those, make sure you guys are checking the description for other social media side of things. But things are tied up. It was basically like a stomp in game one for the Twin player being able to Blood Moon out, or sorry, Harbinger out, and Domain just sort of got away with the Kavu and just sort of like took over the game in game two. So very just like, I'm going to take the win very quickly, I'm going to take the win very quickly, and just sort of this back and forth from both players here. Fetch and Surveillance setting up here for our Twin player. I mean, no ley line on turn one, right? None of the opening hand, so that definitely has an impact and on the decision making and what's going to happen next for this match in particular. Because you go, oh, okay, this does help and make things so much easier to navigate the match when you have the ley line or not. And I think that might be also why I don't like the Zoo deck as much. Like, specifically the Domain Zoo versions, is that they just feel so much, like, focused on that. But it's like, do I have this one card out of four copies of it in my 60-card deck? It seems risky. But then again, like, that's so much of Magic in general when 60-card formats, right? Like, I'm an Infect player, so I'm like, oh, 4 copies of a Infect creature seems fine. But really, I'm running like 8, and then that jumps up to like 12 if we think of like Inkmoth Nexus. So it's like my numbers increase for my likelihood to be able to have an Infect creature in my opening hand. Where it's like, no, sometimes I have to just mulligan aggressively to get the ley line, or the rest of my hand has to be good enough to not justify shipping it away. And I don't know the Domain lists well enough and pilot them well enough to make those calls yet. But that doesn't mean that players that start picking up haven't put in the reps and haven't learned that stuff. So Snapcaster, Kavu, we're just sort of like staring each other down. Also a big fan of Snapcaster Mage. That's also why I love the Twin list, because it is a hybrid version of a, Izzet Wizard list. I know there was some Jeskai Twin lists that were running around for a little bit, especially after Lorwyn came out. There was the Merfolk that is blue and white, and it is a wizard, so you can be able to, Flame of Anor with it out and do some twinning and stuff like that. So definitely does have some cool elements to it, but we'll see. We'll see how things go. Will it become a Twin match, or will it just the fetching up to double islands here? Also, this can tell you, and maybe for those that have played in person, can maybe date the video a little bit based off of me only having one of those specific secret lair bonus islands there. Right? I do have 2 of those now, so this was the video back when we didn't have 2. So. All right, is the Magus of the Moon enough? Now, this also turns Kavu into a 1/1 here, because Kavu's power and toughness is equal to the number of basic lands, right? The domain mechanic that we're thinking of here. So 2 mountains, no plains. Plains is really that card that is super needed to be able to get out of this situation. It's just confirming. I don't have to shock this in. It just sort of enters. And that's right. Whenever there's a Blood Moon type effect, Harbinger of the Seas, Blood Moon, Magus of the Moon, you don't actually have to pay the life to get the land. It just automatically enters untapped as a mountain. The hand is really good, too, for this Domain player. But it was just like, oh, I went second here, and I fetched specifically to make sure I could play the Kavu instead of going for the basic. It's like, do I want to attack for 1 and discard and draw? Maybe. Is that discard draw enough? Basic mountain. So double island, double mountain now. Which, again, you need double mountain in order to play Splinter Twin. And bolt the Kavu on the end step there. Yeah, I don't know if the attacking... I mean, we lose the Kavu to swing it in, but is the discard draw enough? I mean, let's just look through one more card, right? Another mountain. But there's not, I mean, 4 damage is still a decent amount, right? That's a clock here. Basically drops us down to now we have 2 turns to try to find something. Ooh, Doorkeeper Thrall, but move to clean up there. Discard this 12 drop we'll never be able to cast. And there's 4 more. Hey, there it is. Look at all of this. Oh, Clarendon Caller there. What is that? Yeah, like there's a lot of goodies in this hand. It's like I just needed the white source, and then I get access to Flage, and we can or attempt the Flage, but we get to see a little bit of what's in everyone's hands here. So, you know, sometimes that happens in Magic where it is the one side. This match in particular was very interesting because it was such a. This game was one-sided for the Twin player. This game was one-sided for the Zoo player. Then this game was one-sided for the Twin player. I mean, all of that really came down to the moon effects. And we get to see, like, there's a little bit of discussion between the players. Like, the Blood Moon, Magus of the Moon, and Harbinger are in my list because I run 2 basic islands, 2 basic mountains. I've got the 2 Harbingers main board because they're also wizards. And then I've got the moon effects in the sideboard, and I can always bring in more essentially against these 3-4 color decks, or in this case 5 color. But so now we get to see a little bit of what players brought in, and we will also get to see like the full sideboard list of the Domain players. So if you're interested in checking that out, stick with us for another minute or so as we get to see the full list of what sideboard stuff this player has in store for us here. But you can see what is brought out. Took out these a little bit of slower cards that weren't really relevant there for a little bit more interactive and powerful stuff. So yeah, so I love the Mind Funeral choice here. This is one of those like, oh, okay, if there's an increase in these Goblin Char Belcher type strategies there, we got to use some of those. So. All right, and also, like we say, okay, you have Ashiok's here. Are you seeing a lot of graveyard-based decks at your shot and stuff like that? It's like, well, I just need a little bit faster interactions. If they turn 1 Thoughtseize themselves, drop a big fatty in the graveyard, and then they have a Goryo's to follow it up, I need something, or I die before I hit turn 3 with Ashiok, essentially, which is, you know, really telling about the power level that Modern has. But we kind of breaking down a little bit of, I love these little moments where we get to have these discussions and be like, okay, talk to me about your sideboard. Why do you have certain cards in there? What is your list looking like? Are you happy with the way that it's working? You know, things like that. So yeah, we're talking about the Mind Funeral there, which I love seeing that. Like, again, if you're going to be in a position where Goblin Charbelcher decks are going to be more prevalent, it's a great one to just sort of get them and just be like, meh, hey, get rid of your deck real quick. Hope you're okay with this. But hope you all enjoyed this one. A little bit of fast-paced, one-sided stuff, but sometimes that happens. But that's going to do it for us here today. Thanks so much for tuning and watching, y'all, and I'll see you all next game.